want to welcome everyone to the meeting tonight to the Blount County Board of Trustees. 25th. So glad everybody can be here. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes. We do have one correction on, let's see, page 4. Memorial donations fund is already over. It indicated 4,300 and it's 3,000. So that is one correction I know we need to make. So do I have a motion, and then we'll see if there's anything else that needs to be.
So moved.
Have a second? Second. Any discussion or any other correction? That was pretty long minutes. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I don't think Chris is here, but Eric Bowen is here from Johnson Architects. You all should have gotten in your packets a cost estimate for the book return project. Manny, do you have anything you want to say about that? I don't think that included any labor. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
But Blount County government asked, we had asked Chris and Eric to kind of come up with an estimate so they would kind of have an idea of, before they put this out for bid, what it's going to look like. So, Eric, have you got any information?
No, just the numbers that we provided to Manny. So those are all available, I think, for everybody to review.
Do I have any questions for Eric?
Yeah, if the contingency is not all used, does it come back as a credit?
Yep. Yeah.
And what's the difference between sod and seed mulch, and why are you using both?
Typically what you would do is adjacent to like a sidewalk, you would use the sod because it's a little bit stronger. Whereas maybe in more of the open areas, depending on how much change there's going to be to that drive, you could just seed that at those areas if they're farther away from where there's traffic.
Any other questions for Eric? Do we have to vote on this?
Yes, yeah.
So I need a motion that we approve this on cost estimate and that we send this on over to Blount County.
The foundation.
Foundation. Send this on to the foundation. Send it.
That would be forwarded.
Second. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Move this on to the foundation. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Presentation of the Blount Partnership. It says Brian Daniels, and I know you're not Brian. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, you talk a lot, yeah. Good afternoon, good early evening. My name is Jeff Muir. I'm the communications director for the Blount Partnership. And so I'm joined today by Allison Lester from Fletcher PR. She'll be taking over in the second half of this presentation. But what we'd like to do is kind of talk to you a little bit about what the Blount Partnership is and our community awareness plan that we're putting forth that we started last year. So we've gone around visiting small groups around the community, kind of putting some information out about what the Blount Partnership is and how it helps guide the development of the community. So one of the things we were kind of tasked with by our board was we kind of perceived some problems out there that we're kind of facing some vocal criticism from different groups around the area. And so one of the thoughts behind it was that people just didn't know what the Blount Partnership was. So there was a lot of misinformation out there about what was going on. Sorry. So there's a lot of misinformation about what was going on around the community and what the Blount Partnership was doing. And so this is part of what we're doing, is going around talking about what the Blount Partnership is. And so one of the things we wanted to talk, I'll first tell you what the Blount Partnership is. It's an umbrella organization, kind of maybe similar to what you see at the universities that have different colleges underneath. So the Blount Partnership is composed of the Chamber of Commerce, which is about 1,300 members. That's the voice of business for this community. We do a lot of advocacy work at the local, federal, and state levels to make sure that this community is thriving with the business legislation that goes around. Also, it's a home for tourism development for the county. So you see hotel motel taxes fund that primarily. And it also, since the national park takes up 1/3 of the county landmass in this county, it's only natural that we promote it. And so we promote not only the national park, but the businesses that lead into it and do a lot of tourism activity to bring forth that. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park is the most visited national park in the nation, drawing annually over 12 million visitors. And Townsend is one of the gateways into the Smokies. And so we really do our part to promote the businesses that lead into the Smokies in Townsend and also Maryville and Alcoa. And so, as we know, the airport is here. We get a lot of business travelers coming through. And so it's a great opportunity for us to market this area for visitors to not only hear and enjoy this area, but also possibly stay and maybe build a business here as well. And then thirdly, the Blount Partnership encompasses the Industrial Development Board of Blount County and the cities of Maryville and Alcoa. Over about 60 years ago, our faithful leaders at that time decided it was best, rather than compete with each other for businesses with the county and the two cities, they combined forces and created an Industrial Development Board. It's all written into the state laws as well, too, that communities can do this. And so they each fund into that budget. And so we do the primary economic development organization for the county. So we leave a lot of the retail and restaurant building to the cities and county to do that. But we do work on really trying to bring employers here that can supply high, well-paying jobs. And for instance, we brought in Smith & Wesson last year, and it's a headquarters organization. So they're employing people from line workers all the way up to C-suite people. So those are great opportunities for us to do that. And so that's primarily what the Blount Partnership does. And so getting back to our thing here, we were wondering if a lot of this was true. And so we did some research back in October of 2022. We did a survey of some people to find out, well, what do people know about the Blount Partnership? Do they know anything about it? And as we found out, nearly 40% have a net positive image of us, but 31% of the people had never heard of us. And so we were like, well, that's kind of an issue. We just want to make sure that people understand what the Blount Partnership does. And so we have set out to find out why. But that wasn't the only thing we surveyed in there. We surveyed what are some of the pain points and good points that people are feeling in the community. And so a lot of people feel that the community is moving in the right direction that we surveyed. We surveyed all age groups under different categories. And they also feel like there's a massive quick growth in this area. But as we can see, if you take a step back and look at it, there's quick growth. There's a lot of growth, not only in Blount County, but it's in East Tennessee. It's all throughout the Southeast. So the Southeast portion of the United States is seeing a huge, tremendous growth of businesses moving south. And so you're seeing a lot of, not only as the businesses move south, but people move south to get these jobs as well. Another key takeaway, people said that it's just growing too fast. A lot of people that have been here for a long time. I've lived in this area for 25 plus years. And yeah, it does take a little bit longer to go from one side of town to the other. But growth is inevitable when you have a great community as we have. And so one of the things that we've seen is that if you look at the statistics through the census, Blount County grows on average about a little over 1% a year, which is definitely manageable growth. We did some interviews for people that are running for school board, and one of the candidates came from a community in Alabama that grew 300% in 10 years. That is just a phenomenal amount of growth, and she was talking about how that really impacted their school system and things like that. But we're definitely at a manageable rate for what this community can take on. Another thing, pain point was there's a huge traffic problem. Yeah, like I said earlier, it does take a little bit longer to go back and forth. But part of this is also a lot of the way some of the new GPS finders are doing, directing people into the national park. People traveling east on I-40 get directed on 321 to go through Lenore City and bring a lot of the tourism traffic into this area as well.
You have a question as you go, if you want to switch up.
We can answer questions as we go.
Because who's managing the traffic? Partnership or the city's managing?
No, traffic is managed by the cities in the county.
Is one department with a highway department for the county, and then Alca and Marable share the same traffic office.
So you just, one partnership just identifies and then they
We don't
understand how the system works in terms of you guys fitting into. Are you guys fitting into the various cities' issues that are occurring based on traffic?
Yeah, we just did a survey that kind of picked on some of the main pain points and stuff. And obviously we share those results with the city too, but they have their own traffic measures as well. So they're well aware of the different pain points in the city that are being affected by major traffic flows as well. So the things we were just getting a gauge of what people felt in the community. But on the plus side, people that are moving here, they plan on staying here, and there's great reason why you all have lived here for probably most of your lives anyway. And also, another great thing is people think this is a great place to live and raise a family, and I think most of us here can attest to that anyway. So there's a lot of good positives that came out of it. And so the main point that we want to get to is, the partnership. We just want to be a unifying organization between the business community and the public as well. But the underlying result of what we are trying to do is keep our young people here. We graduate over 1,300 students a year out of our public school system. We want to make sure that they have a place to not only get educated after school, go to Pellissippi, get a 2-year degree, get any kind of certifications that they want. If they want to go on to 4-year at Marable College or UT or any of the 4-year institutions in this area, but come back to Blount County and definitely you can find a career that is definitely you can build a family on, and there's good jobs here and that. And so what we are trying to do is make sure that they have the opportunity to go out and build a family here as well.
Are you working on the trades or like the businesses with the schools?
Yeah, we have some workforce committees that make sure that not only are the CTE programs that the schools are teaching are filling the jobs that employers have, and also we make sure that there's a open communication between those businesses to make sure that the schools are teaching the things that they need. And so, as we know, technology is traveling a lot faster than we can keep up with. We're trying to train people for jobs that haven't even been created yet. One of the areas that we're definitely seeing more interest in is aviation. As you've seen, the airport is adding expanded parking. They're been adding more airline flights here in the last few weeks. You've seen those in the news. And also they're going to do more airport expansion with more gates. Means more airlines, means we need more mechanics, more airline service personnel to help operate those things.
So in terms of partnering with, say, TCAT in Pellissippi, how does that look from your all's perspective towards the institution itself? And what role do you guys play when it comes to sort of getting the word out, say about Pellissippi with the TCAT programs that are out there?
Yeah, so our role is more a facilitating role. We make sure that the businesses let us know what skills they need to fill their jobs. We work with Pellissippi, TCATs, Roane State, whoever, make sure that their teaching programs are getting certificates for those available jobs. And so we make sure that those are communicated through the high schools as well. Make sure that those kids are aware of positions like that. We do an 8th grade career fair in October, which really exposes middle schoolers to a lot of the jobs that we have available. And that's a great event because it's hands-on. We have a lot of employers that advanced manufacturing that do a lot of things too, but we brought in, accountants, different other people that want to show really different kind of fun things. The Commonwealth Management did a program where you could show kids how much you need to save over your your lifetime. If you want to retire at 55, you know, how much do you need to save over your career to do that? And so it's really eye-opening when you can show kids real numbers on things like that work well. And so that's what we're trying to do. And obviously, working with the city of Alcoa on Springbrook Farms, they've never had a downtown. This is their opportunity to build a downtown with mixed-use facilities. Make sure that that's planned the right way. We're working with 12 downtown developers here in Maryville to make sure that there's plenty of indoor activities to do. We're known for our great outdoor scene, but there's people that want to do things indoors. And so we've contracted with, or not us, we didn't contract with them, but Massey Group is going to build the Armory on Ellis Avenue. Going to be a wonderful indoor facility as well for indoor activities. There's going to be a hotel opening up downtown as well. I think we're doing groundbreaking on that in a couple of weeks. So there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of good structures that needed to be revitalized. And so you're seeing a lot of good downtown development as well. So that's one of the positive things that we work to and make sure that this community is growing in the right way. And that's kind of where we go. And so back to the campaign strategy, you know, we just did a lot of establishing benchmarks, talked to a lot of people, got really some good feedback information. And like I said, why this matters, it's about keeping our young people here, making sure they have opportunities as well. And so I'm going to turn it over to Allison, who can kind of go into a little bit more in-depth detail.
Hey, can I, for that, so to elaborate just a little bit more on the workforce development, Jessica Blitz and I, Jessica who runs the workforce development at me with economic development, we had Anna in our office 3 times last week, the same day. So for 10 years now, we've been focusing on the trades, and that's from K through 12 and beyond. We have articulation agreements with Pellissippi and TCAT, and then as well as right now, STEM and manufacturers are at our office telling us their needs that then we take back to the schools. And that's, you know, really with from all levels. So it's a great relationship. It's been beneficial. We've invested in the Workforce Development Center at Pellissippi Community College. That's a flex space that really answers the need of businesses of what the skills they need for the folks that graduate to be successful from day one in their jobs. So trades, we have been, you know, we have signing day recently where those folks signed on to jobs. I think we do trades the best in the state, really. And we have a lot of folks who ask us how we're doing it. So thank you for that question. It's a really big point of pride. And I think our school systems can even nod and say, we really focus on it too.
Lord, is there a lot of communication work with the unions?
Well, as far as we all have a very small unionized percentage in the county. Mostly it's the steel union, and then there's a few other. Yeah.
And they're strong.
And so we have different workforce committees that we get participation from them on. And so, you know, for me and our standpoint is I would say our relationships there. We've helped respond to technician jobs. We help promote their work. We help the schools figure out like if they need to fine tune their training courses to help these kids have the skills they need for those unions, we do. So it's kind of all encompassing as far as all the unions, private and public sector jobs.
The reason I asked, when I was in high school, of course, that was 100 years ago. The unions sponsored scholarships to train the kids in the high schools.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that we see that a lot. Where we're seeing a lot more is we have apprenticeship programs and internship programs that is sponsored by our local companies here. So I'd say not so much from the union standpoint, but more from the private business standpoint.
And there's cooperative workforce learning, where kids in school are actually learning the trades firsthand, hands-on with local businesses.
So I know William Heritage has a great program.
Mm-hmm, they do.
So I'm Allison Lester. We're the PR firm that has been helping the Blount Partnership as well as Smoky Mountain Tourism Development Authority. So let's see if I can figure out how to get this thing to work. Want to do? Okay, so after doing the survey, part of the reason that we wanted to do that is because it's really easy to get distracted by a vocal minority, and it's really easy to hear noise and get tied up in the messages that you're hearing. And we wanted to make sure that what we were hearing was accurate. And so we wanted to make sure that we were really honing in on the actual issues that Blount County citizens are concerned about. And as Jeff mentioned earlier, the Blount Partnership can't fix all of the traffic issues, and the Blount Partnership cannot build a wall and stop people from moving into Blount County or the state of Tennessee. It's just kind of the nature of migration in the United States right now. People are moving here. We all probably love the Southeast and can see why. But it is the job of the Blount Partnership to help businesses and the local government and local leadership make sure that we're growing in the right way. And make sure that we're getting the messaging out to people about the decisions that are being made and what's being done, so that people aren't looking around saying, well, what the heck's going in there? And then someone says something that's not true, and then that gets spread. And then, where there's a void, people are going to fill that with whatever information they come up with, and then people are going to believe that. And so it's really been our goal to make sure that we had messaging that was true and accurate to the goals of the Blount Partnership and local leadership. And so we work with Perfectly Blunt, which is a branding that you guys are probably familiar with, that has been part of Blount County branding for a few years, and broke it down into kind of 3 tenets that we felt really capture Blount County, that it's perfectly placed for great quality of life. It's beautiful. It's convenient. There's access to the greatest national park in the country, as well as top tier amenities, an airport, sports, you name it, you have access to it. It's perfectly planned, that there is planning that goes into all of the decisions that are being made, so that you don't just end up with sprawl happening unintentionally. I know that some people would like for it to remain farmland forever. Unfortunately, that's probably not possible, especially since a lot of the land that's being sold is private land that didn't belong to the county government in the first place. And I think there's a misconception about that. But also there's the national park that takes up 1/3 of the county that will never be built upon. It will always be green, natural space. And so really trying to help people understand that there is a plan. The other piece of this is what Jeff mentioned earlier, that there is a very concerted effort to build a future Blount County that is going to be better for everybody, not just people who've lived here for 40 years, but for the future workforce, for kids who are graduating from high school right now, that 1,300 number, plus the 2,500 kids who graduate from local universities and colleges every year in the county, that we want to make sure that they understand that Blount County is a place they can live and grow their families and be here for decades to come. And perfectly proud. That's definitely a piece that we saw in the survey. There was a word cloud that we asked people to describe the words they would use to describe Blount County, and the biggest word on the word cloud was love. So people truly do love it here. It's home, it's family, it's history, it's all of these amazing things. And Blount Partnership is working very hard with local leadership to overcome obstacles and try to help to make the growth something that's bearable, while also really preserving the things about Blount County that make it something that everybody is so proud of. So in order to get the messaging out, we've deployed several tactics. One of them is a microsite, perfectlyblunt.com. There you can find a PDF that you can download that talks about the 3-part plan, a video message from Brian Daniels, who is not here today, as well as some more information. You can sign up for a newsletter there, which you get quarterly, that talks about development, a roundup of news stories that are out about what's going on in Blount County. Just another tool that we're using to keep people informed. Social media. A lot of the Blount Partnership social media is used for exactly what a chamber type social media should be used for to promote local businesses. But we also do use the social media channels to make sure that we're getting some messaging out for people to help understand what's so great about Blount County, and really to help put the growth into perspective, like Jeff talked about earlier, and to kind of help to put the truth out about rumors sometimes when we hear things that aren't accurate, and make sure that we're educating people about what's actually going on. And then media coverage. So my background is in broadcast journalism, and locally I worked at WBIR for 6 years before I came over to help out on the PR side. And so we do a lot with the local media. The Maryville Daily Times obviously is the paper that covers Blount County day in and day out. But we found through the survey that the majority of people are still getting their news from kind of the big 3 local television stations in Knoxville. They may not sit down and watch it at 6 p.m., but they're still getting the news from the push alerts from the website. And so we really we've been making a much more concerted effort over the past year to make sure that they know about the stories that are being told here, the development that's happening here, and the things that are happening in Blount County. It's the second largest county in the DMA and the market that those television stations serve. And so we've really been hard on them about making sure that they're serving their entire viewing area and not just Knoxville. And they have showed up. And so you can see there were 335 stories about Blount County last year. That doesn't include stories about crimes, fires, car accidents, Blount Memorial Hospital. This is just stories about development, things that the Blount Partnership was doing, signing day, those sorts of stories. New businesses. Knoxville News Sentinel also is a part of that. We actually sat down, Jeff, myself, and Brian went and sat down with leadership at all of the media outlets to make sure that they know who to call when they have a story, when they want to tell a story, and that we can be a resource to them so that the people who live here are learning more about what's going on firsthand from the people who actually have the information. It's not always Jeff and Brian who are on camera, but we're often connecting them with the developer who's actually the one putting in something, or the company behind, whatever is happening, the people in the school system behind workforce development, et cetera. These are just some examples of the stories. There are way too many. I'm not going to go through everything, but stories about trying to keep the younger population in downtown Maryville. Stories about aviation jobs, which Jeff mentioned earlier. Stories, just good stories highlighting the local businesses, our local makers, the downtown market to shop holiday season. So, it's kind of a mix of development stories about bigger initiatives that are happening, as well as just, some stories to highlight local businesses. And then to go back to what else is going on in development, I'll hand it back over to Jeff. Thank you, guys.
I'll wrap this up really quick here, but to tag on one other thing that Allison did, as a result of our meetings with the 3 major TV networks and stuff, WBIR has opened a Blount County bureau here. They have a reporter, Libby Cunningham, her beat is Blount County. And so she is doing daily stories, probably one every couple of days, or even daily stories about things happening in Blount County. And this is only going to help us not only get the word out about Blount County, but it gets us a little bit more exposure to different areas, and also gets a voice to the business community and people involved as well. So this has been a great opportunity for us to get that out. And so, just talking, here's a couple of the different things that are going in the downtown. Coming, I guess, later this fall. This is the picture on the right is the building kind of right across the street from Blue Tick, next to the parking garage there. There's a picture of what the armory will look like. So this would be a great opportunity for indoor recreation. There's a picture of the hotel that's going to do groundbreaking for here in a couple of weeks. Greenway Village, produced by James Tomachek. This will be a great kind of facility. It's going to have a bunch of little shops in there. I think a brewery, some other things as well. So they broke ground on that. That's definitely well underway. So it'll be a great opportunity for people to get off the Greenway. We have, I think, nearly 20 miles of Greenway in this county, and it continues to grow. And we really want to make that a focal point for what we're trying to do. get businesses facing the greenway. So when people are going for bike rides, walks with their families, they can do that. Another thing we found out with a focus group we had here a few weeks ago was that families really want more family-friendly areas. So if we can create a splash pad, I know the city of Maryville is working on that. Need a little bit more funding to get that done, but a splash pad, they'd love to. Families want to do that. They love to get out and do these things off the greenway, and this is some great opportunities. So some of the other programs we're working on, some broadband infrastructure, make sure that that's getting out to some of the more rural parts of this county. We've seen that happen. Really working on creative arts. Pinky Mystery downtown. We've had Charles Finley, who's an artist downtown, created shops in the downtown area. So really trying to focus on what we can do to help the creative arts in this community, because that's what makes us whole. Housing, we could spend a whole day on housing, but Blount Partnership does not control housing. Counties do not control the housing prices. All they can do is plan and make sure that there's proper use of the land that's in place. And obviously greenway connectivity. As the Alcoa Highway expansion is going on, the greenway is following that from Knoxville all the way down to Blount County. So hopefully here in a couple of years, once that Alcoa Highway gets expanded, you can go from downtown Knoxville all the way down here to Maryville. And the grand plan is to eventually connect it from Maryville all the way to Townsend. There's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be done, and that's a huge, probably $40–50 million project on its own. We've applied for grants to help see if we can get that rolling, but eventually, probably long after we're all gone, but the plan is to have the greenway go from Townsend all the way to Knoxville with shops and amenities along the way. And so that would be a great plan for this community. So we just ask that you help spread the word about, I put the information in front of you. So anything you can do to help talk about Perfectly Blunt and the great things we're doing. So but thank you for your opportunity.
So how are you tying in the library?
We'd just visiting with the different groups, hopefully getting, you guys are influential in your own different areas. You can talk about, just give you more information to take back to the groups that you're associated with. If you need some reference there about what's going on, we'd be willing to help. Our information is on there, and if you've got any questions, you can email me or give us a call, and we'd be happy to talk with you about it. But yeah, our main focus is just to visit with different groups around the community and just try to let people know that there are good things happening, and there is thought behind the process. So thank you very much.
I could make just one comment about folks that I have talked to that don't live in our area. But I think one of the things that maybe just plant a bug, that when I speak to people, say in Carolinas or who live in Texas or places like that know about the Knoxville area, they tend to lump us in with Sevier County. And so I think that there, if possible, needs to be some way to, I guess, champion our differences with that. Then, because certainly their economy and their structure's a whole lot different than ours. But I think it's something that, if I talk to folks about where I live, I have to give them a lot of, well, we're not, and it's more than what we are.
Yeah.
And so, so I hope that's something that as you go forward with this, that you can kind of, what does make us different and unique here.
Yeah, absolutely. We are, you're right on mark with that. So as Lauren can attest to with economic development and tourism development, as we market this area to different outside areas, we've had that issue for years. And so last summer, we worked with a group group that works exclusively kind of with economic development and tourism organizations. We came up with a plan with a new slogan and mark called the Greater Smokies Region. That is what we're going to do a lot of our external marketing in that way. I call it the hook. People know where the Smokies are. Gets people interested. Well, what's great about the Smokies? Well, let me tell you about my city in Maryville. And so that's where the Great Smoky Mountains region comes in to work from that perspective. And so you'll see us not so much here locally, because as we market different tourism and economic in this area, But as we do some external marketing for that, you'll see the Greater Smokies region being used a lot more as well. But one of the other slogans that we've always used is the peaceful side of the Smokies. That's been one of our tourism brands for well over 30 years. We've trademarked it. It's been used, and so we continue to use that for tourism. Brand ourselves as the peaceful side of the Smokies, so people know that we're not Sevierville, we're not Dollywood. This is the place where you can relax, get your cabin, get your campground. If you want to travel to the other side of the mountain and do Dollywood for a day, when you come back, this is where you get your peace. So, but yeah, we are making efforts to make sure that people outside this area know that there is a distinction. But for some things, we just have to. For some things, we're just lumped into that area, but we will make the distinction as best we can. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay or you may leave. At this time, we'd like to thank all the guests for being here. We have several staff members that we're glad to see, and Mariah's here from the Daily Times. Also, Ms. McGee, I think you want to speak. You'll have 2 minutes to speak about something that's on the agenda. So which item on the agenda will you be addressing? You can speak about items that are on the agenda.
Sure that I understand what you're saying.
If you have something to say, it has to be about something that's on the agenda. We have the public meeting room policy. We have approval of the Joy Bishop statue and location. So is it about either one of those items that are on the agenda?
It is not.
Okay, I'm sorry, but you can't speak. This change happened July 1,
Yes,
I think.
yes.
Is when the state changed the law that we could just address the items that are on the agenda.
So,
So it's been a while since you've been to one of our meetings, I think.
so how do I have a voice?
Well, you can contact any of us personally or the director, either way. We all have emails that you can email us.
Can she submit a topic for the agenda?
Typically, that's just the board members that do that.
Okay.
So there is no public. There isn't a public forum.
If
Something
it's-
that's not on the agenda.
Something on the agenda, but again, we all have email addresses that are on the website, and the director, if there's an issue, you can contact any of us.
That's not public.
Correct. Unless it's on the agenda.
That's sad. I'm sad to hear that.
Well, you still have our contact information, so you can contact us anytime.
I can't have 2 minutes at the microphone.
Thank you. I have nothing to report that's not already on the agenda, so we're gonna move on. Manny? You can report on.
Yes. So over in the children's department, we have an election going on. As you know, this year is a very busy year when it comes to elections. But children's is also having a little fun with that. Several years back, they did their own election, and Elephant and Piggy won the election. There's another election going on in the children's room. And if you notice in the packet, Dog Man and Cat Kid are on the ballot this year, along with Frog and Toad, and I think that's Wilbur and Charlotte on there. And there's several others, so you can go to the children's room and the children can cast their vote on who they want as, I guess, president of the children's department. So it's really cute how they do that. Also, the Knoxville Children's Opera will be returning. They were supposed to come the week of the Snowmageddon. So they have rescheduled to March 23rd, and they're doing Cinderella. Should be a lot of fun. One Book Blitz, we're participating as well. This past Saturday, we had a showing of Charlotte's Web. We're gonna have that again. And this week, all the children's programs and story times have a farming theme in it. So, which is really, really cute. We have the Southern Appalachian Lecture Series has returned. It kicked off on February the 5th. And we had 400 people in attendance. I know Andy was there and Kathleen was there as well and others. Very well attended, to say the least. Dr. Astor from Maryville College spoke. And this is all put on by our Adult Services Department. Kathleen, the next one's in April, isn't it? April or May, and it's with food. Appalachian food. And I know in August there's one on music coming up, so. My suggestion is if you'd like to attend, come early. Get a good seat.
May
May,
6th.
okay, May 6th is the next one. And that's with food and I forgot food. I think that, oh, Amy Campbell, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Campbell. All right, we'll go over to the collections department. There's a number that just really sticks out is how many DVDs and Blu-rays we have. We have, as of this report, 11,280, which is amazing, and they do get checked out. I was astounded when I moved here that I actually saw a DVD. I was astounded. People really, not everyone has.
Just a little while ago.
Yeah, we did have VHS, Betamax, Laserdisc. But, people rely on watching DVDs and Blu-rays. Not everyone has internet, so they rely on home video for that. So that was a very interesting number. Rebecca's in attendance today and she had her first patron services update. And last month we had a snowman for our display, and this month is Charlotte's Web. So if you get isn't it? And Wilbur is adorable.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, they had to.
Was some actually made from the snow that?
Yeah, you can have that snowman outside, you can take a snowman. And in with tradition, Rebecca does have the chart of how many new cards were added for the month, and then we have a little graph as well. Over in the PR side, just we get positive testimonials constantly, and this is just a sample of one of the comments that we've received. We receive a lot of comments. Majority are very positive, and this is one of them right here. Mentioning again the snow, the library was closed from the 16th to the 21st, and I really got to give kudos to our General Services Department. They don't have the equipment of other areas that are used to snow, get feet of snow. They don't have the amount of plows, the ice melt, just the machinery to handle it. But I thought they did a decent job. Obviously, there's areas that they could have worked on, but that's with anything. I mean, even snowstorms I've dealt with, there's always issues with one. It's just very difficult to get out, especially with the cold weather and turn to ice. Then it's very hard you can't shovel that at that point. It's kind of drop it out.
Salt bound.
Yeah, or like the ice melt beforehand, treat it, and then But, overall, I thought they did a good, it's not often, I guess, you get snow like that, so that's a positive, on that note. Some of the projects that we're working on, I just want to give everyone a kind of a heads up, not just the book return project. We're also looking at a storybook walk, and we're going to be working with Maryville Rotary as well as Alcoa Kiwanis with a storybook walk in Springbrook Park. And I actually met with Tip Science today, and we're going to be getting pricing, and we're going to have a storybook walk in Springbrook Park. So looking forward to that. I hope it's the first of many. I'd like to see one down in Townsend, over in Louisville, in Maryville as well. So we're working with two community partners that are very interested in that. We're also looking at study pods as well through another Arconic grant. Various libraries have them. I was poking around at various libraries, and one in Connecticut had one. It's like an enclosed pod. It's really kind of space age or futuristic looking. And that's something that we don't have here, is a quiet study area. We have study rooms, but the study rooms, they do not go to the ceiling. So this right here would see either 4 or 6. And they would be, I guess, making reservations for them. And if successful, we'll get more. So
Those will be in interior.
yes, but I would like to see them eventually out in the other parts of the county.
So we're thinking about moving away from, we talked about structurally, you know, look to the top.
I think we could have both, because I know Kathleen can attest that the meeting rooms get booked up quite quickly, so.
How large are the pods? What do you think?
So it's 85 inches tall and 55 inches wide, so you can see up to 4 people in there.
Where do you put them?
We were thinking over near the reference area. There are 2 study carrels at the corner. If you're in reference, looking at the 2 screens over on the left, we were thinking that area. So, and then they have smaller ones for singles, almost like a phone booth. So I'd like to see them eventually go in other parts. I like to see one at the MLK Center or at the Heritage Center as well. So we're looking at that, and then a lactation pod as well for the library. So, yeah, that will be, because I've seen public libraries around have them, and it's very needed here. Let's see, we actually had guests from Denzo donate several books in celebration of Black History Month earlier this month. And that's it.
The library will open at noon tomorrow.
Oh, yes, yeah, tomorrow is our part 2 of active attack training, so the library will be closed until noon tomorrow. Staff will be in attendance, as well as members of the Friends and other partners in the library. So that'll be tomorrow. Corporal Brickville will be conducting active attack, part 2. Yeah. It's Greg's son doing it.
Do the winners of the logo contest get anything?
I'd have to ask Chelsea if they get something. Do you guys know if they get a prize? I don't know. I'd have to ask Chelsea Tarwater.
But as popular as it's getting, I
Yeah,
would hope we'd be able to do something. Some free McDonald's or something.
yeah. I'll ask her.
There is something,
Yeah.
I'm just not sure what it is.
Yeah. It's a good idea though. Yeah, it is very popular.
Chad is not here today, so we will move on to Friends of the Library.
Alrighty, so in terms of Friends Helping Friends, we actually had Knox Friends of the Library downstairs today. They were here twice last week. We're doing training with them on putting some stuff on eBay. I guess they got some pretty expensive donations. And last fall, I talked about helping Ripley Friends of the Library. And we nominated them for the Small Library Friends of the Year, and we found out about an hour ago that they won.
Oh, wow.
They were very excited. We're very happy for them. So I think I'll make an effort to go to the conference just so I can applaud them. In terms of the book sales, we are gearing up for March 7th, 8th, and 9th. We do have 2 more hours open for somebody if they want to do the elevator operator. 3 to 4 on Friday or 3 to 4 on Saturday are the 2 open spots, but the rest have been filled. Thank you to everybody who volunteered, and it really helps for a smooth operation when that elevator doesn't go down. eBay is about to have their best February ever. Over last year, we're already up 15% again. So we're really doing a great job there. We've added more volunteers to help. We were just under 50, now we're probably at 60 just in eBay alone. So it's really going fast and furious. The golden anniversary, I touched on it just briefly last month, but we've sort of changed everything around our schedule because we were trying to cram too much in too fast and not giving it enough detail. But we'll be kicking off our 50th anniversary on the 50th anniversary, which is April 19th. And we'll be having an event for teachers in July. We will also be having a tent out on the front lawn during our June sale, which is also the same, one day of the sale is the same day as MiniCon. So we will have a very busy day here at the library, downstairs, upstairs, and outside. But we will have a tent. We've already got some food trucks lined up. We've got a face painter, a mobile silk screener lined up. So it'll be a real active day for us. And then our gala is currently scheduled for October 25th. It's a Friday night. We're in discussion with Pellissippi State Culinary Program to work with them as the big gala out there on 321. So we're going to meet with them hopefully in the next week and talk through what it would be. But they would give you, it becomes part of their training program. They provide all the servers, they provide everything. We just pay for the food. And so we think that would be a really good cost saving for us to do. But we also are still working on the silent auction to go with it. So lots of irons in the fire for this year and our 50th.
If folks have items to donate to the silent auction, should we contact you?
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, we're going to be soliciting through our volunteers as well as members. We'll get something out to members.
We utilize Pellissippi Community College for the long table event, and the suits are wonderful. It's such a great idea. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dee. Next, report of the Oconee Regional Library. Liz, we're glad to see you.
Oh, glad to be with you in person. I always prefer in person. So just really quickly, our training opportunities that we have coming up that we're offering, Kate Greensmith, who is our Youth Services and Special Projects Coordinator at State Library and Archives, has put together a series of different workshops focusing on early math literacy training with Dr. Alyssa Lang. And so she's from ETSU. And so their workshop that's closest to our folks in this region is going to be at the King Family Library on Friday. So we're really excited. Spaces have been limited, but I think it's going to be a really great opportunity for youth services folks to really get some good ideas about incorporating math literacy concepts into story times. And so that's an exciting, kind of got a little precursor talk from Kate on a conference call last week. And so I thought, oh, I miss my story time days as the youth services librarian. It's been great. So that's coming up. And then another really exciting program that we get a lot of requests for, we're partnering with several different regions to offer a space planning workshop on March the 12th, kind of focusing on 21st library spaces and using the space that you have and kind of figuring out how to change things up a little bit. We get questions about that often. You know, we kind of sometimes get into ruts of where we've got things and how we think about space planning. And so we're excited to have David Benjamin coming to talk about that on March the 12th. So, and that will be at the Art Circle Public Library in Crossville. So those are our two big workshops that are coming up in terms of statewide training. As Dee mentioned, you should all come and cheer on the Ripley group for getting their Friends Award at the Trustee Friends Luncheon. That is one of the things that happens at the Tennessee Library Association Conference. So reminding our library staff about that. The theme this year is Libraries Connect Us All. And that's April 2nd through the 4th in Franklin. Just a few other reminders for our libraries. Tech grant spending, that's the 50-50 matching grant. The LSTA tech grant deadline is fast approaching. So we're reminding our folks about that, as well as trustee certification, as well as upcoming vacancies, board recruitment, which I know you all have talked about too, and budgeting that time of year. So those are just some general reminders in our February reports. And you also have, of course, the READS circulation report that we provide. Christy Chandler, who is our state data coordinator, actually puts these out each month, sorry. She puts the stats out each month. But we like to share those with you because that is a benefit that our libraries receive. Being a part of the regional system is having their patrons get access to regional economic system. So that's the Libby app. You use that where you can use your library card and download digital materials. So that those search stats just reflect that usage. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Do we have any committee updates? Any board members? Our safety committee meeting that was scheduled in February was canceled. But you did have a walkthrough.
Yeah, we had a walkthrough on February 5th with the special agent for the Office of Homeland Security. And we are scheduled to meet with her in a couple of weeks. And that meeting will be held behind closed doors. And this is something the Office of Homeland Security asked because we don't need the public knowing about some of the areas we need to work on.
Any other committee updates or anything? All right, we'll move on. Old business, I've requested that the bylaw policy be pulled and wait till next month. I've been doing some reading of bylaws from other institutions. And I think we have a couple of things that we may want to look at. One of the things that Susan brought up was the mission statement. Nobody has a mission statement that I've seen in their bylaws, so we may not even need that. And it doesn't really match what is on our mission for the library anyway. So that I've been looking at that. Yeah. And I looked to see if there were any, I'm still looking to see if there are any libraries who vote electronically. And I found one, Jackson Madison County, that has it in their bylaws where they can do electronic votes. Now, I don't know if they've just not taken out, because of the changes, the governor and all that. So I'm still doing research, and we'll obviously run anything by our attorney before we do anything like that.
But you think with as large a county as Madison County is that.
Yes, and I think it may be based on the population of that county.
We've got more, so
I don't know. I'm still doing a little research on that. So that's just kind of an update on.
Vote for what?
Well, they can attend meetings through Zoom and vote on items that are on the agenda.
Now there is there's a provision in the code about voting, kind of like proxy voting, I guess, or telephonic voting. But what guidance we received is that was not applicable to public libraries. But that being said, not an attorney, double check your check with your local, because interpretations vary, and I think it's always a good idea to check with your local.
It says meeting participation by board members via video conferencing will be allowed and vote will be recognized.
Well, do you?
So, but I don't.
Say that again, though?
So can we read it again?
What you just said.
Meeting participation by board members via video conferencing will be allowed and vote will be recognized. That's
new.
Jackson, Madison.
You asked that last time.
Right, yes, I
So
had
I'm
asked
not
that,
saying that's,
because it's from the bylaws that, when we got the copy of them, it seemed vague, given the date that was on the bylaws. It post-dated when Governor Lee changed, when the change was supposed to have happened, and it wasn't taken out of anything, which is why I brought the question up from there, was if this hasn't changed, then certainly, certainly it's something I think we can address. And I know, because last time Beth Logan and I were on Zoom, I was ill, he was I think you were out of town, but, yeah, I think it would, in situations like that, particularly, like if we say we'd been scheduled on the snow day for January's meeting, would have, could have made things easier if it's something that, one, allowable, and two, everybody's agreeable with.
Yeah, at the end of the day though, who dictates? Is it, state?
State law,
It-
for open meetings.
It's statutory as far as that's concerned.
Chain of command really impacts on what we can go to our local attorneys and say, yes, you can do it, but it may not be effective. If the state says you cannot, I think we need to take our guidance from what? The state who is.
Well, I can't give you legal guidance.
I'm talking about policy.
Right, but our understanding is that once Governor Lee did not extend the order, which changed the provisions, kind of suspended the open meetings law, there were very specific rules in that executive order about being able to utilize those kinds of meetings. Once that was not extended, it expired, effectively going back to the statute previously. And that was a pandemic thing, but definitely check with your county attorney, because
and when you read it,
If the county attorney says, yes, we can do it.
maybe there's maybe there's some other case. I'm not an attorney. Maybe there's case law or something out there that's happened since we've been told.
So, what did you just read?
that was from Jackson, Madison County's bylaws.
Oh, well, okay.
And then when you read the open meetings law, it's really vague in there too, because it talks about physical quorum is not present at the location. Then you can do electronic voting, and so I was thinking, we need a lot more research.
And there are groups that I know that should be subject to the open meeting laws that do things electronically. And so,
Yeah.
so it's as it always is in the state legislature, it's purposefully vague.
Okay.
True. You're.
So you should always check with the person that would be representing you in case. That would be the county attorney. So check with the county attorney.
So we'll have hopefully something and we'll know for sure. New business public meeting rooms policy, we don't need to vote on this meeting. This was just if you have any corrections on the public meeting rooms policy.
And I just ask a technical question. Is there a set fee, and that fee is? You say we have preferences, but for each room, there should be a set fee, right?
Correct.
And that should be a set fee for nonprofit and.
That's correct, there is, yeah.
What is that?
So it's 35 for nonprofit and 70 for hosting a birthday party.
Okay.
Does that need to be included in here?
I think that was a question that was brought up last year. Because if we have to change it.
Yeah, I don't think you want to balance, because then you have to update it every time you change it.
That was our thinking last time.
having to vote on the policy if they change, yeah.
I mean, as long as we know what it is, you know, even from confidential.
Any corrections or anything?
I got a question on the ability for somebody to store items here. It's on, under additional rules and regulations, number A or B. It says, storage of goods and organizations. If it's approved by the director for them to store it, I'm thinking that if you would approve something like that, they'd have to have insurance, or we to cover whatever they're storing here. Because we wouldn't want to be responsible for anything that's stored here.
And right now, the only thing that we have in storage are several items from Rotary. We have the bell and a couple of signs from them.
But if somebody rents a room and they want to store something, you're saying that it's okay if you approve it. I'm saying I don't think you should allow it unless they have insurance on it, whatever they're storing here. Let's say somebody brings in Davy Crockett's gun and lets them leave it here, you know, who knows what the value is?
Yeah.
They have insurance of the time
Of course,
themselves.
of course they should, but we need a copy of it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, we can add that in there. You're right. If someone bought that or a autographed football or something, you know, so.
Right, and of course, the section below is about damages and liabilities, so we could maybe even include it, tied in with that, and have that, have that just be, kind of explanatory from there.
We have to have a clause saying we're not responsible for any theft of items or anything like that.
That's in there.
Yeah.
It is in there, okay.
That doesn't cut anything.
Yeah, I know, but I think if you don't have that.
Some tricky lawyer would probably get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says proof of liability insurance.
Mhm.
It's right here.
Yeah, on page,
Yeah, on the next page, it says proof of liability insurance.
There you go.
That's not the same thing.
But that's not, yeah,
that's
that's not
county
for
risk
theft
management.
of
Right,
the-
yes, I think we want to include
the
something about,
sentence.
yes.
I did notice on the first page there that always before we ask the people who have rented our public meeting rooms to include that statement about except for providing meeting space, Blount County Public Library is not in any manner connected with this meeting, and we're not endorsing it, but I noticed that we struck that out. Is it hard to get people to put that statement in when they're
Yes,
making those
yeah.
announcements?
especially this year with an election year. That's gonna be we had issues 2 years ago where we had various candidates hold events. And the language made it sound like we were endorsing the candidate, so. Yeah,
So are we saying not put it in or take it out?
so to remove, because it's so long,
Right.
so that's why to shorten that,
We're saying you short,
yeah,
because we did run up against that with our friend.
yes.
So,
But it doesn't look shortened.
Huh?
It doesn't look shortened, it looks removed.
Yeah.
So are we shortening it or striking it?
So we're striking the language there, and then underneath those 4 bullet points, that's what needs to be included. Yeah, because we have a individual that will watch every program or every event and will email Chelsea constantly and say, hey, because we had to do it for for that group as well, so.
Would it be worth amending so that we have a required QR code that they print that is just, if you scan it, it goes to an online location of rules and policies? It's, thank you, my time.
At the end of the day, we need to make sure we have some statement communicating that we don't report to know, we're not really in agreement with whatever that particular organization. So we're not liable, we're not supporting such and such. I don't know how you. QR code.
Yeah, the QR code, we can put all that on the website and then it's there as our,
Okay.
and you can make it as like a non-affiliation statement or something, scan here, and then we can write whatever long form text we want on the website.
I think that's better because these bullets don't say that we're not endorsing this.
Say that again, that part before.
I believe that that is a great way to do it because
You are.
these bullets are just stating the facts. It's, so we still don't have the state, we're losing the state.
Okay. Do that. I also wanted to point out, I'm just looking at it now on the second page where it's highlighted in yellow. It should be the Bookmark Cafe offers basic catering options such as coffee, tea, and scones, no lunch boxes. That's how Chelsea is scaling back when it comes to catering to focus more on the cafe. It was just becoming too much. So we don't want our cafe to suffer. So you will be seeing sandwiches again and salads back in the cafe. So that's been, so if you want to strike where it says and lunch boxes at the end of that sentence.
Any other? And we'll vote on this next month. If we don't need to vote on it. The last item, approval of Joy Bishop statue and location. And also, March 22nd at 5:30, I think that's a Friday evening, is when the unveiling will be. And we met with Carolyn and the foundation last Friday or Friday before, can't remember when it was. Yeah, and they were going to decide who was going to have the reception. They've got the money already raised, and they will be, this group that raised the money for the statue will be donating some money to the foundation based on whatever they need to spend, minus what they need to spend on the reception. Then the rest of that money that they raised over that 25,000, it will be donated to the foundation. So they will work on details of who was supposed to do the reception. Do you know who?
I do. So the foundation is gonna pay and cater for the event. The caterer is Amelia Geis. She will be the caterer. Poltergeist, yeah. And so this kind of was this event kind of ballooned into, we didn't know. Originally, it was just supposed to be the abstract out here and then the donors, but at the same time now, the city of Maryville will be acknowledging Joy's, there's gonna be a plaque out there on the bridge, both sides, the same time now. So this event's kind of increased.
What day is this?
So it's
22nd. It's a Friday, March. Friday at 5:30. The library closes at 5, yeah, so it will just, and I think Carolyn said that there were 100 and something donations, invitations. Can't get it turned on.
What's this now?
Where will the statue be placed?
So when you, and we need to, the board needs to vote on that this evening. In the entry rotunda, So before you enter inside the library, when you're in the rotunda area, off to the left of the doors, right now, there's a metallic garbage barrel there. It's gonna go right there, and right above on your left, you'll see one of our screens. So it's gonna go right there. We met with the artists and the Joy Bishop Committee and felt like that would be a location that would be for everyone to see. It's gonna be a heavy, 650 pounds? And it's gonna be bolted, and it's gonna be, I forgot what they said. Epoxy, yeah. So, and it's to be touched. The artist wants the abstract to be touched.
So I need a motion,
Make a motion.
to approve the location of the statue, to the left of the front door there.
I make a motion for the statue located in the rotunda the left side of the rotunda. It's a great spot.
Second? Second. Any more discussion?
Is there a wall or something there to put things on,
It's,
to hang signage or anything?
No, there will be signage though, so you have the abstract, and then you have the, I don't know, the stand, I don't
Yeah.
know what they call it. It's gonna be the base, it's gonna be on the base.
You'll put some signage on the base.
Yeah,
Not on the pedestal?
yeah.
any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Thank you all. Okay. Anything else? Almost, Greg, almost.
One random question, Manny. I just noticed the parking lot's looking a little rough in terms of paint. Is that something that's handled by the county, or do we need to budget for that?
It's handled by the county. You're talking about the parking.
Like painting the lines and,
That
yeah,
is
it's looking a
from
little.
the county, yes,
light.
and Don Stallions and Denny Gardner know it, and when I bring it up, they
And what
take care of
they're
it.
saying
Yeah.
is they're trying to wait on, there's something that they have to do out at the learning
Yeah.
lab.
Okay,
And they didn't wanna paint everything and then have to dig something up. I think they've been having some issues out there.
Sewer.
Yes.
So, yeah, so that's what they keep saying.
Water issues, yeah.
There's a lot of roads that need painted.
Yeah, a lot. You can't hardly see them.
Yeah.
Full.
They've done some,
Yeah.
I noticed recently. Less.
You'll have a motion that we adjourn?
Second.
Second.
Oh,
All those in favor?
wait a second.
Any opposed? Thank you all for coming.